Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Saturday, April 6th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, along with the altcoin market. Take a look over there at the stock market, which of course is closed today. Take a look over there at precious metals like gold and silver and the DXY US dollar currency index, while also looking over there at any type of financial news or crypto news that I guess went on this week. So if you've missed it, I've been out for the last few days. I did, of course, talk about that last week and 2 weeks ago, and of course the first 2 days of this week, saying I would be out, and anticipated that I'd be able to be back yesterday afternoon to do like a Markets in the Morning yesterday afternoon, but life got absolutely in the way, making it impossible for me to do one yesterday. But I told you that I would, and so here we are on Saturday, trying to make up for it. Because it's never my intention to tell you something and not follow through with it. So here we are, Saturday morning. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the markets and see what the markets have done for the last few days. We're going to keep it light, tight, and bright because, hey, man, it's a Saturday. No reason to start our day off with anything negative. So we'll keep it as positive, and we'll keep it quick so it won't eat up too much of your time this morning. Do anticipate that at some point we'll probably hear knocking on the door. We'll hear, "Daddy! Daddy, Daddy." Anticipate that will probably happen because there are kids home to date from school. Typically, when Markets in the Morning does start, I've got the kids completely out of the house, but that will not be the case today. So let's go ahead and dive on in and see what's been going on in markets. And I look forward to kind of telling you guys what's been going on for the last couple of days. Just kind of meetings for the channel. As you guys know, there's been a lot. I've been overwhelmed with the channel. You guys know it. There haven't been nearly as many videos for the last few months that there typically are. Right? I usually like to get anywhere between like 3 and 5 videos out per week. That hasn't been the case for months on end. I've just been completely swamped. But so trying to make adjustments on the channel to free up my time. Oh, I can already hear it, Daddy. And that's really what that traveling was actually about. And so I'm excited about that. Nothing's going to change here, but excited to have things to help free up my time so we can make more videos and more content and get back to the usual regular stuff that we're used to here. Okay, let's go ahead and dive on into the markets and see what's been going on. Bitcoin sitting there at $67,700 as we kick off this Saturday morning here in the United States. Of course, obviously, in a corrective structure happening in here. You can hear the kids in the background. One of the things we've talked about, of course, like for everybody, I'm cheering for the thing to go up right now, right? Obviously, the clear challenge that we have going on here right now is just where the market has gotten back to. We know it that the altcoin market's back at the retracement levels. This has been the thing for 2022 and 2023 is to get back into those retracement levels. We're here, and we're now waiting on the market to tell us, hey, are we going to end up expanding or not? Is this the end of the run, or do we get to have some more expansion to happen in here and things get incredibly, incredibly exciting? And for the last few weeks, and even in a presentation I gave in Australia, just where the altcoin market is, it's acting very similar to where Bitcoin is not. Most people are using formulas and modeling, showing Bitcoin kind of being back at the all-time high, like in 2020 and back here in 2016 and 2017, when Bitcoin really just got back to its all-time high. But when you look at like on-chain activity data and how the market is performing, and if you look at the altcoin market of where the altcoin market was during 2021, we had this exact same thing. Altcoin communities, mad, upset, everything like that, because you see this happening over here for Bitcoin. Meanwhile, the altcoins are still sitting all way down in here at that time. And the behavior of the altcoin market is really identical to as if we had already done this whole move here for Bitcoin. We're sitting way up in here rather than being way down in here. And for those who were around last year, in October, November, and December, how many times we were kind of like comparing the price action of what happened on this move out of here, similarly to this move out in here. And really, like this, like we're way back, like these two moments in time are so far apart. We just don't think of them that way because, well, it wasn't at an all-time high. But the structures and the price behaviors were all identical. And being up in here, it's the same thing with the altcoin market. That the altcoin market is acting as if we are already way, way, way up into a new all-time high, essentially double the all-time high. So, you know, and that's where we got back to the retracement levels back in 2021, in 2020, before the breakouts ended. Yeah, 2021, yeah, before the breakouts ended up happening in here. So, you know, you look at this thing and we're kind of like, all right, well, I recognize this is a challenge. This is a problem. I even tweeted about it throughout the week. Hey, look, the challenge of where we're at in the market right now is clearly we're back at the retracement levels, right? We've got to be able to get through this thing. If there's going to be any more action in here, this is typically, you know, our problem area. Can we get through out of here? And you guys know that I've beaten you to death with that throughout the last several weeks here on the channel. But if we are in something like this, right, if you are in a movement like in 2021 and there's still going to be further up to go, you know, kind of looking at it from the aspect of what did that correction really look like, right? It was more of like an ABC style correction that came out of there. And then that kind of being somewhere along those lines. So it's like we're getting kind of deep into it. If we were doing that same kind of correction, that we're kind of getting further along into something like that happening. And so I'm optimistic to see that much time has elapsed and maybe we're even further and just there wasn't enough depth. There wasn't enough selling pressure for it to be able to go set a new low really on that candle right in there. But still that there would be more waddling in here. I'm not going to be surprised if we do end up seeing it. But, you know, just structurally seems like we would probably already be pretty deep into here. Now, what did end up happening in this market? And I was having a conversation with TXMC about this, you know, what did end up happening right there, right? This is actually when the announcement from Tesla comes out and Elon Musk that they've added Bitcoin to their balance sheet, right? So like we had to get a narrative. A surprise narrative had to arrive, right? We get the surprise narrative here. This is the catapult that ends up getting that altcoin market to go blasting out and get through retracements and get out and get going. This all happens after the Elon Musk announcement comes out and the Tesla announcement comes out in here. And that's what ends up giving that big break. And that's when the altcoin market starts raging and rampaging and everything gets wild and crazy, right? So, you know, how do you predict the narratives? And it's pretty hard, but right, that's what ended up happening, right? So that's how this range ends up getting escaped is at, you know, it does a corrective structure and then eventually a narrative comes and it shoots its way up. So we're just like playing with the ideas of narratives, right? So like, well, could you get something similar to that, right? Well, funny enough, we actually are going to be entering into earnings season coming up here in the next month. So we are now in April, and so we're going to get Q1 earnings coming out in here. And it really kind of starts next week, right? And then we go into the weeks after. And then really when we get deep into April is when we really start to see a whole lot more of the earnings reports start to come out. And well, you know, we've got the ETFs and I'm not going to predict narratives, but I will say, you know, that is the narrative that came with that. That is the narrative that came with that break. And so on chain wise, price action wise, everything wise, or, you know, things look very similar to that. And then what did end up happening was Tesla adding to balance sheet. Are we about to see something similar happening in here where we're going to go through earnings season and suddenly it's going to be kind of the same kind of narrative? Don't know. We've got very similar on-chain activity, very similar corrective structure activity. Altcoin market's exactly where it was at that particular time, and that's the narrative that we have. And it'll be interesting to see what happens during Q1 earnings seasons right now and see if that's the narrative that gets things going, right? That's where the wall of worry of everything gets laid down. Everybody becomes super euphoric, super excited. And well, fingers crossed that's what we end up getting. But we'll keep our eyes on that in the coming weeks because that's what we're going to have going on during the month of April. But otherwise, it still just looks corrective in here. Nothing crazy has arrived to say otherwise, right? No trending happening here just yet for Bitcoin. And of course, altcoin market still stuck needs the big probably catalyst, right? Narrative to go with it. That's what we all need. And like we always talk about, you get through these levels, suddenly there's just a shift of tone. There's a shift of excitement that happens in markets when you get through those things. And that's really what, of course, we're all cheering for and hoping for. XRP still just waddling along in here. XRP had some news. We'll cover that over there when we get into financial news and we get into crypto news to talk about that. But Ripple's releasing a stablecoin to compete with Circle and to compete with USDT, and implementing it on the XRP ledger and on Ethereum. So, those are my two largest holdings. How about that? All right. So there we go. We'll move along. Stock market. Stock market ended up having a pullback happening throughout the week. So a little bit of McDonald's topping happening in here, and then a pullback down below the 4.236 extension happens over here for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. A rebound there on Friday after an otherwise 5-day red week, or 4-day red week, and then finally a slight little rebound happening here on Friday where the Dow goes up 300 points, but definitely some bangers to the downside. I think I saw 550 one day for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Looking at it like on just strength indicators, definitely losing some strength happening in here for the Dow at this point right now. Looking over here at YM1, this is just futures. I don't think we're going to get anything too different from there. RTY, the Russell 2000, of course, it has gotten back to its 618 retracement level. Whipsaws right back down here for that week. So no big break happening for there. No big broadening. No big expansion showing up there in the stock market as of yet. As for the DXY, no big changes here. Still just humming along in here. You can see a lot of people getting scared of the DXY once we got a little bit higher. Boom, shoots right back down throughout the middle of the week. The big one, though, of course, the one that just keeps me up at night, the thing that shouldn't be happening in any type of bull market for equities is that Senor Gold. Gold continues marching. Gold closes out the week at another record all-time high. $2,330. As you can see, you've got these yellow boxes on here. I've got these arrows pointed down in here. Gold historically in all of Bitcoin's bull runs gets rejected. It gets slaughtered. We see expansion happen throughout markets. We see the stock market taking off. We see the Russell 2000 expanding with it. We see Bitcoin expanding with it at the same time. And risk is on. And gold gets slaughtered as the risk trade gets turned on. That's not happening right now. This is highly bizarre, highly unusual, and yikes. We'll look back on that and recognize that it's not usual. I think we should all know that. That is not normal for any Bitcoin bull run, any equities bull run or expansion. Not normal to see that happening there for gold. As for silver, silver's been stuck in a range since early 2020 or mid 2020. So we're going on 4 years now of silver being in this range. Silver is seeing the highest prices it's seen since June of 2021. So we're at like 3-year highs here for silver. Within that giant range, though, it is back there at its last retracement level. And then as it closed out the day, if we zoom in just close enough, a teeny tiny little hair, about 1 penny above that 786. No, maybe not. Let's take a look. I saw a little gap in there. There we go. No, it's through. Yeah. There you go. Slightly through that 0.786 fib right there for silver. So we'll see how silver opens up on Monday, and we'll see how metals open up on Monday. Again, we're starting like just from an indicator perspective. We don't have lower lows happening here in the stock market. So I'll take that off there really quick. You can see we don't have lower lows that are happening in here for the stock market yet, but we've got clear weakness, right? So, but there hasn't been anything that is broken in here just yet. But we definitely are seeing odd behavior, right? 3-year highs over there for silver, and all-time highs over there for gold. So lots of not consistent with the past for risk on stuff happening here throughout broader markets. All right, moving over there to look at financial news happening. The Dow closed 300 points higher on Friday's rebound, but registers its worst week in 2024. Elon Musk says Tesla will unveil its robo-taxi on August 8th. And the Fed caution may be justified if the labor market starts to deteriorate. Here's why that could happen. So we could talk about this just for a second. I got you guys probably beaten up about the Fed. Who cares? But when it comes, everybody, of course, is hoping for bullish rate cuts by the Fed, which we don't historically see. We typically see it when things are hitting the fan. I was watching an interview that was by Danielle DiMartino Booth as I was laying in bed a couple of nights ago. And she was saying that the market completely missed when Jerome Powell said when the cuts would actually end up coming. And that the cuts would actually come once we saw 4% unemployment, 4.0. And that is actually when we're going to end up seeing the cuts. And so yesterday, we actually did end up getting unemployment data. Now, our previous one was like 3.9%. Now, here we go. We just got to register yesterday. What did we end up getting? 3.8. Wrong way. If you're looking for cuts, wrong way, 3.8. But that the Fed has hinted that they're not going to be cutting until we hit 4% unemployment. So you have things happening in here, right? What do you have? You have inflation starting to come back. The Fed is saying, well, we're not going to cut unless we feel like inflation is under control. Well, inflation is starting to come back. And they say, also, we're not going to cut unless we get to 4% unemployment. And we have unemployment going the other way, right? So you have 3.8% unemployment now. So, looking for rate cuts, it sounds like the Fed's not going to cut until it starts hitting the fan, until things start getting bad, which is when they typically start to cut, not bullish cuts. But anyway, looking over there at the Fed forecast or the CME group, Fed futures of when they anticipate that cuts could end up coming, we are at 95% probability they will not be cutting on May 1st. Then looking forward to June, we're at 53%. Looking to July, we're at 72%. But as we know, when we get closer to these and closer to these things, it just keeps getting pushed back. And like we've shown on all the CPI stuff, as we get closer and closer, as these CPI prints keep coming out, it is unlikely to paint a picture that the Fed has inflation entirely under control to head back down to their 2%. That is likely still going to continue grinding upward. All right, looking over here at Bloomberg, Yellen and China's agreed to talks aimed at balanced growth. Okay. Am I supposed to read this stuff? I don't know if this is propaganda, right? The Treasury Secretary and Chinese Vice Premier agreed to start formal talks over what the U.S. sees as China's growing industrial overcapacity. U.S. and China resume military meetings as diplomatic thaw continues. Diplomatic thaw. Like things are cooling. Everything's okay. New solar panel trade fight looms and industry groups warn, and India seeks $100 billion a year in FDI as woos China hedgers. Mexico breaks ties with Ecuador after police storm its embassy in Quito, and Brazil labor spat thwarts Lula's bid to boost growth and save the Amazon. All right, moving on over to here. Moving on over to CoinDesk. CoinDesk got themselves in a little bit of like propaganda. Talking about crypto propaganda. CoinDesk. With their own agenda. Did strong Bitcoin ETF demand kill the halving's potential bullish rally? The much stronger than expected inflows into the spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds have already caused concern about a supply shock in the Bitcoin market potentially. Okay, BlackRock adds Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, UBS as APs for the Bitcoin ETF. Yeah. All right. Moving over to Cointelegraph. Terraform Labs and Do Kwon found liable for fraud in the SEC case. BlackRock updates Bitcoin ETFs and adds 5 Wall Street firms. All these Wall Street firms are saying, hey, can we sell our Bitcoin in that ETF? We would like to sell it to retail. We want to be the ones that provide you the Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin mining profitability won't necessarily fall after the halving. Won't necessarily fall. Okay. Bitcoin price bounces at 66K as BlackRock adds U.S. banks to Bitcoin ETF. BitSensor versus Eric Wall. AI didn't kill the metaverse. It will build it, says Alan Worlds. AI. They've been trying that headline. DAII. Solana struggles. Record 75% of user transactions are failing, or are they? Yes, they absolutely are. That's been crazy. Like, it's been one thing for Solana to have problems and like go down for a minute. Like, you're like, all right, but when it comes back, it like works really well, right? Not right now. You can't. Not right now. You practically. Again, I haven't checked it in a day or two, but I did go test it to play around with it to see how it was working a few days ago, and I was not experiencing 75% transaction failures. I was experiencing 90% transaction failures. BlackRock updates Bitcoin ETFs, adds 5 Wall Street firms. Bitcoin mining profitability. Oh, we already did all this. Athena Labs has Bitcoin backing to its USDE synthetic dollar. Grayscale Fund drops ADA and Atom after quarterly rebalancing. Montenegro's Supreme Court sends Do Kwon's extradition case back to lower court. Bitcoin absorbs $100 million sell side days as bears lose Bitcoin price clout. All right, this is the bigger news, right? Ripple to issue USD-backed stablecoin, bringing more utility and liquidity to the XRP ledger from Ripple.com. Ripple, the leading provider of enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions, announces plans to launch a stablecoin pegged 1-to-1 to the US dollar. Ripple's stablecoin will be 100% backed by US dollar deposits, short-term US government treasuries, and other cash equivalents. These reserve assets will be audited by a third-party accounting firm, and Ripple will publish monthly attestations. Pretty big news. We'll see. We'll see what it brings. But if there's a company out there to be trusted in the stablecoin market, boy, that's one to do it. The stablecoin market is about $150 billion today and is forecasted to exceed $2.8 trillion by 2028. There's clear demand for stablecoins that deliver trust, stability, and utility. To meet this growing demand, Ripple will issue a stablecoin leveraging its decade plus of experience building real-world financial solutions for institutions around the world. Another conversation I was having with TXMC as well is that when it comes to crypto, and it's very hard to believe that the U.S. government is not super favorable of stablecoins. That you would expect that the U.S. government really, really, really likes USD denominated stablecoins because it makes it, right? Like in the event of, if you're in a third world country, and you're experiencing extreme inflation or you're experiencing economic collapse and terrible conditions, what are your real options if you live in those countries? How can you quickly get out, right? And like everybody says, oh, I got a Bitcoin, it's a store of value, but it's incredibly volatile, right? Like this dude who's, has bare feet, walking around on dust, cooking on an open fire and sleeping in a tent every day. Like, I don't know if they're really that interested in the extreme volatility of Bitcoin, like as an investment, right? But like, what is the thing that like everywhere in the world, like if people can get their hand on dollars, that's what they want. But how difficult is it for them to get their hands on dollars? But now it's because everybody's getting a phone in their hands, and it makes it incredibly easy for them to access all these different markets and making it possible for anyone in the world to get their hands on dollars, no matter where they are. And in the end, stable coins create more demand for US dollars. And so why would the government not want that? Right. So I think this is an interesting move here because my thesis of just the stablecoin market is that the U.S. government actually does love stablecoins, and it's probably why that's going to be the first legislation that gets passed. Right, that's the thing that they're talking about in 2024 is passing stablecoin legislation, because the U.S. government likes they like USD denominated stablecoins because it increases the demand for dollars. So this is interesting. This is fascinating, and we'll see what type of reaction this has for the XRP ledger moving forward. David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, stated that this will help devs and users, which is the thing that we've been talking about a lot, right? This has been the thing that we tried to focus for moving into 2024 is increasing developments and building. And, it's become the chicken or the egg problem when it comes to, well, do builders come when there's more users, or do users come when there's more products? And that it actually is like a chicken and the egg problem of who comes first, right? If there's no users, then devs aren't going to come, right? And if devs aren't there, then users aren't going to come there. And so which one comes first to create that, right? And that's been the big challenge. But David saying that this is actually going to help both sides of the equation tremendously. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we'll move forward with this a little bit more. This is a natural step for Ripple to continue bridging the gap between traditional finance and crypto, said Brad Garlinghouse, the Ripple CEO. Institutions entering the space are finding success by partnering with compliant crypto-native players, and Ripple's track record and resiliency speaks for itself as we launch new products and acquire companies through multiple market cycles. This move is also monumental for the XRP Ledger community, driving more use cases, liquidity, and opportunities for developers and users. How about that? At launch, the stablecoin will be available on the XRP Ledger and Ethereum blockchains, with plans to expand to additional blockchains and decentralized finance protocols and apps over time. That's one of those things where I got to talk about XRP is my largest holding, but what's number two? It's Ethereum, right? And I do know there's tribalism in every aspect of crypto out there, but if you are in that tribalism, whether you're an Ethereum maxi and you're like Ripple, XRP, banker coin, centralized, or if you're in the XRP community and you're like, Ethereum had an illegal ICO, right? I get it. But the reality is even Ripple recognizes it. Ethereum's a monster, okay? And Ethereum people, Ripple's, XRP, they're monsters, right? We can all be friendly. We can all be friendly together. But, recognize even Ripple on launch of this thing for the XRP community, they're doing it on Ethereum too, right? So understanding that Ethereum is a monster and XRP monster too. Issuing our stablecoin on the XRP Ledger and Ethereum will serve as a pivotal entry point to unlock new opportunities for institutional and DeFi use cases across multiple ecosystems, added Monica Long, the Ripple president. The XRP Ledger's native capabilities, including a decentralized exchange and automated market maker, were built to utilize XRP as the bridge asset. Bringing a trusted stablecoin on the XRP Ledger will drive more adoption and development, contributing to a vibrant ecosystem. There we go. All right, we'll read these. I don't know. Oh, we're almost done. We'll go through it. Why not? It's huge news, right? Key benefit of Ripple's stablecoin include enterprise grade. Ripple specializes in blockchain-based enterprise-grade solutions that financial institutions and enterprises need. Ripple will leverage both XRP and the stablecoin in its payment solution to further improve the customer experience and serve as the first enterprise use case of the asset at scale. There is demand from Ripple's customers in emerging markets to enable stablecoin payouts. Compliance first mindset. Ripple is committed to regulatory compliance and has a growing license portfolio in key regions around the world, and the company and its subsidiaries collectively hold a New York BIT license. It's nearly 40 money transmitter licenses across the U.S., a major payment institution license from the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and a virtual asset service provider registration with the Central Bank of Ireland. Earlier this year, Ripple agreed to acquire Standard Custody, one of the few crypto companies that hold a New York trust charter, to expand its license footprint to better serve enterprise customers. Okay. That was a lot. All right. Liquidity on the decentralized exchange. While XRP is the native currency of the XRPL, the ledger was built to support any type of asset issued to trade on the DEX and quickly settles anywhere in the world with low transaction costs. This is very true if you have not played on the DEX. Bringing more credible assets on the DEX, such as Ripple's stablecoin, will drive numerous benefits for users, developers, and apps. Transparent stablecoin reserve, which is backed by a 1-to-1 reserve of cash and cash equivalents. Ripple's stablecoin is designed to ensure transparency and reliability. Once the stablecoin is available, Ripple will publish monthly attestations of the assets. Which, of course, is just a thing that everyone in the market wants, right? With Tether being the absolute giant in there, there's always been the Tether FUD. We always go through the cycles of this. Oh, is Tether going to collapse the whole market? That has been going on since I've been in crypto in the first half of 2017, going on 7 years. I cannot tell you how many news cycles we have gone through. I apologize, hit the mic. How many news cycles we have gone through with the Tether worry. Now comes along Circle, right, with USDC. I've done a big research into all the stable coins. To me, USDC, the most safe one of them all, at least when it comes to reporting and compliance. But USDC, let's look at, have they lost ground or have they gained ground recently? Like, right, they were falling real hard during. Let's take a look here. Hold on. They're bouncing back. They're bouncing back. Let's take a look. All right, so there you go. That's the supply of USDC, right? So they topped out at what, 55 billion, fell all the way down to 23 billion, and is now at 32. Let me take it off log so you can kind of see, right? Right, they lost a lot of the market share in here. USDC did, and then we look at USDT. Who's winning, right? Right? That's at the same time, right? Like USDC is down in here. Tether has gone for the big fat win. So is there room in the market for someone else to come in and fight? And I think Ripple's going to give it a shot. And I think if there's anyone to do it, probably them. All right, for 10 years, Ripple has been the industry leader in providing it. Is this like, yeah, okay. Ripple stablecoin is expected to be available later this year, subject to applicable regulatory approval. To learn more about Ripple stablecoin, please reach out to stablecoin@ripple.com. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your news. That is what has been going on throughout the week. I think that news came out 2 days ago, right? So, all right, we've kind of gone through the charts. We've taken a look at everything. We've talked about what's going on in the stock market. We talked about gold, absolute crazy. We've talked about the correction over here on Bitcoin. Hopefully we can wrap this thing up soon. And maybe, just maybe, we have earnings coming out in here. Does that end up being a catalyst like we saw back in 2021? I'll cross my fingers for it, but we know we're at the struggle point. Can we get the euphoria coming into the market? I sure hope so. Otherwise, that is our Saturday. And that's my 31-minute ramble. I hope you've been enjoying a cup of coffee. I hope you have nice weather. You've watched the sunrise. Again, I know only like 50% of my audience is in America. So happy y'all are like, I'm trying to go to sleep, sir. But thank you guys for tuning in on a Saturday. I'll hop into the chat. And then like I said, right when I started the thing, I had kids knocking on the door. Daddy. I'm going to get to my family and enjoy the weekend too. But like I said, I fully intended to be here yesterday afternoon and do like a markets in the afternoon. Life got in the way. And that's not something I like to do. It was one of those things where it's like, I still think I'm going to be able to get it done later in the day. You know what? I still think I'm going to be able to get it done later in the day. Like I might be home in about 2 hours. I still might be able to get it done later today. And then before I knew it, it was like 6 o'clock in the evening. And it's like, and I still wasn't home. And I was like, it's not going to happen. So we're here Saturday, guys. Sorry for not making it yesterday, but I wanted to make up for you and show up today because it's never my intention to tell you one thing and do the other. But okay, there we go. Oscar Hernandez, my brother, right when we started this thing, had gifted 5 BCB memberships. Man, thank you very, very much, 702 crew brother. And Gator had gifted 5 as well. Gator, thank you. And I saw your message this morning. You're like, hey man, you're doing all right. And you were like, hope you and your family are doing well. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm going live. You'll see. You'll see me. I'm not gone. Gator says, and then he says, good morning and welcome back, BCB. Thank you, Gator. Oscar Hernandez says, Bitcoin dominance. Is there any TA we can do on it? Hit the like. I've done a lot on Bitcoin dominance here in Markets in the Morning, or I have put out videos on it, right? And so like the complications of it by removing the stablecoin market, right? And that it has reached resistances. If we want to do if you guys want a whole segment talking about Bitcoin dominance, again, I can put out a video on it, but we've gone through it and beaten it to like a pulp. And it still is just where it is. It hasn't like gone trending, continuing up. What has it been stuck at since June, right? So we're going on 10 months of it being stuck, right? Yeah, we're good. 100%. Yeah. It's just been stuck for 10 months, right? So the continuation hasn't continued. But otherwise, guys, with regards to gold, what goes up must come down. GR the red road. Well, unless if it's in full-blown breakout, right? You got to remember, this is a 9-year range. What is this? This is like a double top on top of the previous range, right? Bull flag, breakout, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing just keeps on going and going and going. You profit take, and then, yeah, sure, but continues going on further. It'll pull back at some point. But it's in breakout right now. It's in breakout. And that is vastly different than every previous equity run. Vastly, vastly different. That makes this... You don't want to say this time is different, but you want to say, is there a signal being offered here, right? Because what makes it different is that everybody, of course, is implying we're just right here, right? Or like in 2000 and... Oops, wrong one. You can do it. Right? Everybody thinks we're like at these same points, right? Like we're right here, or like we're right here, and we're just starting, and everything is going great, and we're at those same points, right? That's kind of like what the vast market opinion is, right? And what everybody is drawing their theses from is to say, well, here's how we did it in 2016 and 17. Well, here's how we did it in 2021. And all on-chain, and when you have all on-chain behavior acting like that, like we're in here, you have the altcoin market acting like we're in here, if you are even going into expansion. And when we were doing all of these things, what were those other elements that were there? You had stock market breaking out, right? You had expansion happening, you had Russell 2000 going, and you had gold getting slaughtered. And that's the opposite of what we have. We don't have expansion, and we have gold rampaging. So what must go up must come down. We'll see. We'll see. So, all right. Dude, look at that. Lucky Mo says, hey, BCB, I love the early shows. I'm just chilling and having a fish down by the pier. Great show, bro. Well, thank you, Lucky Mo. And I sure wish I was down by the beach at the pier eating a fish. That would be dope. But, all right, guys, there you go. That's it for this morning. I wanted to check in with you guys, talk about what's going on in the markets. I appreciate you all tuning in today. We'll keep it brief. We'll keep it light, tight, and bright. And I hope that you guys all have a wonderful weekend. And I look forward to catching up with you on Monday, which is just, I guess, the only day off I'll have. Tomorrow is my day off, and then I'll be back on Monday. And then a lot of things are in the works to help increase the number of videos coming out. That's my passion. It's the thing I enjoy. I love hanging out with you guys in markets in the morning. But, we're going through the news. We're going through everything. The things that I like as my creative outlet and solving the problems is creating videos. That's a lot of fun for me. And that's a thing I enjoy doing. And I just haven't been able to do that with the overload that I have on top of me. And I believe I've solved that problem. So you guys will hopefully enjoy that there's more videos now. I hope so. But on that note, Eric, thank you very much for gifting the membership, guys. I hope that you, Oscar, thank you very much. Iowa Fat Traction says, I never miss a Markets in the Morning or a video. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. But all right, guys, on that note, guys, I did put out a newsletter just 6 days ago. You guys can check it out over here. We're diving into all the things going on in crypto right now as we're back at these levels. We're looking at all the different elements of the markets and macro markets out there on blockchainbacker.substack.com. Of course, you guys check out the videos over here on bcbacker.com. Otherwise, I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and I thank you all for tuning in. I'm actually surprised we got over 1,000 people here, not only on it being a Saturday, but that we did this much earlier than we typically do. We started about an hour and a half earlier than what normal time is for markets in the morning. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Saturday morning, spend time with your family. I'm going to spend time with mine. But all right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.